hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most interesting topics, most engaged debates, most important subjects going on in the world today. And tonight is absolutely no different. I made a note for you all, and I posted it also on Twitter that I would be, or I mentioned it on Twitter Spaces, that I was coming from a shoot and I was driving. So I was talking on Spaces the whole ride up here so y'all could hear me run my mouth and give my thoughts on things going on in the world. But I didn't want you to think that I had forgotten about you all. I was just out of town and traveling. And Rose Billy is one of those people who heard me and was listening on the other side. I want to quickly get through a few stories. I'm very tired. It's 1:30 in the morning. I got to be up in 5 hours. But I didn't want y'all to think that I forgot or that I don't care about doing this, because it's a top priority for me. So that's why we're doing it. Anyway, let's get right to it. We're not going to be here long. We're going to be here for a good time, not a long time. But I wanted to at least lay out a couple. Hit the wrong button there. I'm still hitting the wrong button. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to get it started, though. So let's start with the story that I think a lot of people in the global community are talking about. Italy just pulled out of protecting the Gaza aid flotilla, leaving more than 40 boats and 500 activists, including Greta Thunberg, wide open to Israeli military action. The convoy, called the Global Samud Flotilla, is sailing with food, medicine, and supplies to break Israel's blockade on Gaza. But Italy says once the boats get within 150 miles of the shore, its Navy frigate will stop tracking them. Again, this is a big deal. Rome has pushed for compromise, offload the aid in Cyprus and avoid a showdown with Israel. But the activists flat out refused. They said no, saying that the blockade itself is illegal and that the mission is about freedom, not just food, although food is important. So now all eyes are on the Mediterranean. Organizers say they're bracing for an attack tonight after drones already hit them last week with stun grenades and chemicals in international waters. Israel never confirmed that strike, but it has promised to use, quote, any means necessary to stop the flotilla from reaching Gaza, which is tragic. Even Pope Leo has pleaded for calm, while Italy's prime minister warns the flotilla could derail Trump's so-called peace plan, which, again, we'll unpack. Israel's war on Gaza has already killed more than 66,000 Palestinians since October 7th. So now the question is, will the world watch silently as unarmed activists are boarded, arrested, or worse, on the high seas? It's a question we got to ask. It's a question we're going to continue to delve into. But the fact that an aid flotilla is being blocked in parts of Europe, again, no surprise here, are complicit in this, just like the United States is complicit in this, et cetera, et cetera. But Jesus, you would not think that this would be where we would be in a modern Western democratic hemisphere. But it is what it is. And Israel's commitment to use any means necessary to stop the flotilla says everything about what's happening right now in terms of the attack on civil rights, human rights, more importantly, international law, and just basic conventions of decency. All of this is a mess. And some of the primary mechanisms for resolving this are what? The U.S. intervention. But rather than intervening and advocating, the United States is using its veto power. It's using its veto power in the UN Security Council to effectively ensure that Israel never faces any kind of diplomatic or international accountability. And that indeed is the problem. All right, y'all. You have to forgive me. I'm tired, y'all. It's 1:40. But we're going to plug through these, man, because these are great stories, and I love talking about this stuff. I just want you to know that if I look tired, it's because I am. Anyway, a Reagan-appointed judge just handed down what might be the most important First Amendment rulings decades, easily decades. And it's aimed squarely at Donald Trump's White House. Federal Judge William Young ruled that Trump officials, Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem, unconstitutionally used ICE and the State Department to deport non-citizens who spoke out for Palestine. He said that the government, quote, acted in concert to punish pure political speech, weaponizing canary mission backlists and an elastic, that's a great word, elastic definition of anti-Semitism that equates critique of Israel with terrorism and anti-Semitism. The case was sparked by the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil. By the way, check out my interview with him on this very channel, and other campus activists who were swept up in what plaintiffs call ideological deportations. The judge agreed, saying the policy was designed to chill speech nationwide. In one blistering paragraph, or passage, I should say, he compared ICE's masked raids to the Klan, writing that, quote, in all our history, we have never tolerated an armed, masked, secret police. Why should Americans care? Well, because if the government can deport or jail anybody simply for their political views, then no speech is safe. Not mine, not yours, not anybody's. Judge Young called it, quote, perhaps the most important case ever in his district, and warned that Americans shouldn't get lulled into silence just because they think their personal interests are not on the line. So that's where we are with that. But next, the court is going to hold hearings to decide how to remedy these constitutional violations, which could mean unwinding deportations and reshaping federal policy. But I will not be holding my breath for that one. All right, we got one more, and then I'm going to leave y'all alone. The money just ran out. And now public media is on life support. After nearly 60 years of federal support, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has been forced to shut down after Republicans, with Donald Trump leading the cause, clawed back $1.1 billion with a B dollars in funding this summer. That means NPR, PBS, and local affiliates are cutting jobs, slashing shows, in some cases shutting down completely. Viewers in rural areas, they're going to feel this first, from South Dakota to Pennsylvania. For example, programs like South Dakota Focus, Almanac North, and Headline Humboldt have already gone dark. Executives say that small stations simply can't survive without federal dollars. And, you can get private donations, but private donations will not fill the gap. Republicans claim the cuts were about fighting political bias, at NPR and PBS. But ironically, national shows are staying while the local voices are disappearing. I'm just thinking about this. Anyway, bigger stations like New York Radio, Public Radio, are stepping in, offering shows like Radio Lab and Science Friday for free, just to keep broadcasters alive. And some of you are still saying, well, why should I care? Why should Americans care? Well, because these stations aren't just about Big Bird or Morning Edition. They're often the only source of civic news in small towns and rural counties. Without them, entire communities could lose their access to information about their schools, about their hospitals, about their local governments. All of it could be wiped out. Now, the last 7.1 million from CBP has already been divided, and now it's just a race against time. Will viewers and donors step up to keep local public media alive, or are we watching the slow, painful death of PBS, NPR, and some of the local affiliates too, as well as other kind of big picture stuff? And not just that they were losing PBS, not just that we're losing NPR and others, but that we're losing them in real time. That's the scary part to me. It's at the point now where the very people who champion free speech and used it as a justification or pretext for all kinds of racist discourse are now denying the legitimacy of free speech, but it's time to actually do something for the people. No surprises, but nonetheless disappointing. Anyway, thank y'all for watching Night School. I'll be back tomorrow with a full show, and I look forward to seeing you. Peace.